All right. Hopefully, you know by now that this is a place that you can come for hard-hitting career truths, even if those truths don't feel good in the moment. I'm never going to hold back from sharing something with you that I think you ought to know, because of how it may make you feel. Okay. I know you can take it. You can handle the truth. Today's conversation is based on that. Okay. We're talking about the hidden cost of pressing pause in your corporate career. Okay, the hidden cost of hitting pause in your corporate career, because every other place that you turn to on the internet will tell you that this is the thing to do. Okay, when we had the pandemic, everyone was talking about the great resignation, everyone was talking about quiet quitting, all of these terms that as soon as you said them, everyone just nods along and goes along. It's almost like being in church. Everyone just kind of, you don't even have to say much, you just say, oh, I'm pausing my corporate career. Everyone just goes, oh yeah, and I'm going to be the contrarian here. I'm going to be the person that invites you to think more deeply. Now, ultimately, of course, it goes without saying that this is your career and you can choose to navigate your career in a way that makes sense for you. My only goal here is to give you a different perspective to weigh and to consider so that you can make a well-rounded decision. Okay. So one of the last week we did a podcast with the analogy of driving. Okay. And I think I'm just in the season of life where I'm paying attention to a lot of things and I'm paying attention to my environment and finding the interconnectedness of everything. And so this week, I'm going to talk with you about running. Many of you know that I used to be a runner many years ago. I sustained a back injury like, 10, 13 years ago. And I've just now started to get back into running. And I'm now at the point where I'm able to do 45, 50 miles again a week. And so one of the rookie mistakes I used to make when I first started running was that I would get out there, sprint for like half a mile, okay, full on sprint for half a mile, and then exhaust myself. Okay. I would exhaust myself and then I would stop, completely stop, cold turkey, all right, to catch my breath or to rest. And then I would resume running. But invariably, every time I resumed, I never could get quite back to that half a mile. Like the initial half a mile, I could never get back there without stopping again, right? So I would start off with half a mile, I would stop, and then when I start back up, the most I could do is maybe a quarter mile, and then I'm stopping again. And then it goes even lower, zero point 0.1, right? And it just keeps going lower and lower and lower. And the reason for that is when you stop in a long run, when you resume running, your legs will feel like lead. That's how it felt for me. Okay. And there's some very physiological reasons for that. All right. For one, you lose momentum, blood flow slows. Okay. Your energy production dips. There's some very, and I'm not going to go into all the chemistry of what's happening in your body, but there's some very real reasons for that. Okay. So the thing about it is that you don't want to stop cold turkey when you're running like that. You want to slow down mindfully, intentionally. You want to be strategic, right? As you do this. And the same is true of your corporate career. The same is true of your corporate career. Here's what I see often enough. Okay. You have someone who is likely a senior director, maybe a VP, maybe even an SVP. Okay. She is absolutely crushing it in her career, delivering results, beloved by everyone. And then something happens. Something happens. Maybe she's found herself in a high stakes conflict with a major stakeholder that she hasn't quite navigated as gracefully. Now she's found herself on an island by herself, in the crosshairs. Or maybe she made a bad judgment call that she wasn't able to spin well or effectively. And now she's getting, it's starting to grow. It's starting to, become sort of escalated to the CEO of the company. Okay. And all kinds of things. There are all kinds of things that can happen. But then she starts to think, boy, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this. I haven't even taken vacation in the last 5 years. Maybe she's taking vacation, but it's not a real vacation. She hasn't really been able to disconnect. Okay. She's always been on, always been thinking about the work. And eventually she's like, I'm done. I'm done. She burns the boats. Okay. Burns down the whole thing and then walks away. And let me tell you, the relief is palpable. It's immediate. Okay. Especially right after. She doesn't have to get up at 5 a.m. for that call with Germany or some, country in Europe. She doesn't have to prepare for the XCOM. She doesn't have to pull together presentations for the board. What? She's like, this is perfect. She's got cash in the bank. She's got stocks that she can liquidate whenever she wants. This is beautiful. She's loving it. Okay. 3 months go by, 6 months go by, maybe 12 months go by, right? The relief, the euphoria has waned. And maybe something else has happened, like maybe her hubby gets laid off or something else happens where, and that then sort of unearths this other feeling that she's been having, that she's been battling, which is this feeling of like this low grade feeling of not being relevant. She can't quite put her finger on it, but she's been feeling like her days are just kind of adrift and she can't quite figure out like, or put her finger on what she's feeling. But now on top of that, something has happened that necessitates her getting back out there. Okay. So she's like, I should get back out there. I should get back out there. But except that now her phone's not ringing. No one's calling. And even when someone does call, she's not nailing it. It's not going as well as it could. Something's off. Each call ends with a lot of, yeah, let's stay in touch. I'll keep you in mind. But it doesn't move. It doesn't escalate. Nothing is moving to interviews. And when it moves to interviews, it doesn't move to an offer. Okay. Here's the thing. She thought she was just taking a break. Her blind spot was, I'm just taking a break, but really she stopped cold. And just like my running analogy, you don't want to stop cold, okay? Because when she stopped cold, everything stopped. Her network went quiet. Her edge dulled. Her confidence dipped. And now she's finding she's actually having difficulty explaining why she left the other company. Like she can't get her words together, okay? But something is off. And even though the people that she's talking to can't name it, they can't articulate it, they know something is off. They just don't know what it is, right? They don't know what it is. So now when she tries to start back up, just like in my running analogy, everything feels heavier, feels like lead. She tries to tell the story of her wins. They don't quite land the way she wants them to land. Her instincts, her ability to respond quickly, her ability to think critically on the call, to hear a question and connect the dots of what story she wants to tell and answer that. That's just not, it's just not smooth. It's not a well-oiled machine, right? And again, people can feel it. They can sense it in the conversation, even if they can't pinpoint it. And that's the thing, just like in a race, when you stop, you're not stopping and restarting where you left off. Every time you stop, the engine stops, okay? And when you restart, you got to warm up the engine. You got to relearn the skills. You've got to get back out there and build the muscle. It doesn't just happen. And this is what a lot of people don't know. They think, well, I'm just going to stop for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And then the moment I'm ready, it should just happen. I will just land the roll. And it doesn't work that way, okay? And then what happens, you find yourself in a bit of this cycle because restarting is hard and because you're not quite getting the attention that you'd like for the kinds of job, maybe the role that you had before paid you a certain amount of money, gave you a certain amount of prestige, was with a company that was, had a recognizable name, a lot of pedigree. And so now maybe you're finding those opportunities are not coming my way. They're fewer and farther between, right? So then what happens, you start to diminish. And perhaps on top of that, let's get deeper. Okay, because we might as well. On top of that, then I find that oftentimes there's some trauma with a little T, okay, that's been built up from the experiences that she's had that she never really quite processed, never really dealt with, never talked about, never really mined for their value. And she's carrying along with her this hodgepodge of meaning that she's constructed that doesn't serve her. And it's there, just getting this low grade thing that's sapping, eating away at her confidence every single day. And she's not thinking about it. That's all she can think about. That's all she can talk about to friends, to family. Right? Is this making sense for you? Have you found yourself in this position? Do you know somebody who's found themselves in this position? Okay. If you have found yourself here, you're not alone. Okay, I encounter so many other leaders who are also, who either have found themselves here or have, navigated this recently. Okay. So again, you stop cold turkey, you get back out there, you got to warm up the engine. It's not quite coming as easily as you thought. Your legs feel like lead. Okay. And then you think, well, maybe I'll just take something smaller. Maybe I'll just take something safer. Okay, because I'm not quite able to land the same kind of thing that I was landing before. And this is the kind of thing where years later, and this is where it gets tough, okay, so brace yourself. But years later, what will happen when you look at this person's LinkedIn, let's say, before they ever even utter a word, when you look at their LinkedIn, you can tell the precise moment that things took a wrong turn. You can see it. And a savvy recruiter, a savvy hiring manager, someone like myself who's an executive coach can see it as well. You can tell the precise moment that things took a wrong turn, because after that, every stint lasts shorter. Every stint is less fulfilling. Every stint after that makes less sense than the last. You just look at it and the career story is incoherent. It doesn't quite make the kind of sense it made in the beginning. You see that? You're like, okay, I see the moves she was making before. I see the moves over here, but over here, these moves, it's not quite as coherent. It's not as obvious to anybody why these moves were made. Like I said, the stints become even shorter. Okay. Maybe it's 6 months over here, right? Then a year over here, then back to 6 months over there, then 3 months over there. The stints are shorter. Each job feels less fulfilling than the last one. And each job feels, more inexplicable than the last one. And as the person who's in it, you don't even really see it because you're making what seems like the next right move. But when you zoom out or when someone has a bit of healthy distance from it, they can see it. And if you're being honest, and this is where it may not feel as good to hear it, if you're being honest, there's a touch of desperation in that pattern. You can see that as this person's taking move after move, there's probably some desperation underneath all of that has led to or has fueled those decisions, that has motivated those decisions, right? So like I said, this may not be the most fun thing to hear, but it's true. It is true. It happens. And no one wants to talk about it because it doesn't feel good. Okay. Now, this person is no less talented than they were before any of this happened. She's just as talented, just as smart, can do just as well. What happened? She lost momentum and she just never figured out how to get it back. She lost her footing. She stopped. And she never figured out how to get it back. Let me talk with you about how to avoid this because it's important to know how to avoid it. We'll talk, of course, what to do if you're already in it, but how do you avoid this? I'm going to share with you 4 points, okay? What do you do when this stuff gets unbearably hard? Okay, when it gets unbearably hard, because I'm sitting here as somebody who has gone through everything that I'm talking to you about, where it's so hard, okay? And let me tell you, people often think that there's an escape hatch. There's this, exit route that will then lead to the land of good and plenty, right? Of milk and honey. And there's no such thing. Whatever professional pursuit you choose to undertake, if you are going to be successful in it, if you are going to be in the top 1% of it, if you are going to be known for your value and your success, it will take something from you. It will demand of you. Okay. So what do you do when it gets hard and everything inside of you is screaming, stop? In the same way when you're running, okay? You're running that half mile and you're like, oh, everything is screaming, just stop for a little bit, just catch your breath, right? Just stop or just quit. Just quit. Take some time. What do you do? Here are 4 considerations for you, okay? First thing I'm going to say is before we even get to this point, adjust your expectations. Adjust your expectations because this is hard. And part of the problem is you don't realize it is hard. You're making it mean something that this is hard for you. It's hard. It's supposed to be hard. Leadership, leading people, office politics, office culture, targets, ever ratcheting targets, curveballs, it's hard. Yes. Who said it wouldn't be? Tell me again, what thing of significance isn't hard? And I'm telling you, as somebody who runs my own business, I'm working harder than I've ever worked in my entire life. Okay. So hard is par for the course. It is part of it. Okay. It is hard. That goes without saying. You're not imagining it. It's not in your head. It is hard. And you have to adjust your expectations. You have to go in knowing that so that you don't think that something is wrong when you start to experience the difficulty. Right? I was coaching one of our clients on this. She just accepted a new role and she is coming from a behemoth organization and going to a smaller company. And we were having this conversation to prepare her for her first 90 days, which is a thing that I do with our clients when they land their new role, is give them a plan for their first 90 days. And I said to her, something that you're going to want to watch out for is that it will be hard. There will be a culture shock that will have nothing to do with the work per se. It will have everything to do with the environment that you found yourself in. You are entering into a completely different environment and it will be hard. And you need to adjust your expectations. Because if you don't adjust your expectations, you will be frustrated on day one and you won't be able to recover. And that frustration will be palpable to the people around you. The same is true here. It is hard. Expect that. Adjust your expectations. You're not imagining it. Leadership is hard. Leading larger teams, delivering more and more results every single quarter, every single year, preparing for the XCOM, doing the board deck, dealing with the conflict. Yeah. Yes. There's a reason you're making $500,000 and up. It's hard. Okay. So that's number one. Number two is to do your inner work so that you have the right level of fortitude. I've talked about this on several episodes of this podcast over the years. Okay. I've talked about executive stamina. I've talked about leading through uncertainty and what you need to do to fortify yourself. You can't go to battle. You can't climb Mount Everest without the adequate preparation. If you're just waking up every morning and just showing up to work, just showing up for battle, showing up for what I've just said is really hard. You know it's hard, and you're just showing up every day. No inner work, no preparation, nothing to fortify yourself. That is one of the most, it's one of the least kind things you could do. It is one way to be really unduly unkind to yourself. You have to find what it is that fuels you, and you have to do it often. You have to fortify yourself. You have to be able to do the work on the inside, okay? Because if you don't do that, your emotions are out front. Your emotions are running the show, and you will, no doubt, you will make a misstep. No doubt you will burn the boats. Okay. You have to ensure that you are doing your inner work. You're building the executive stamina. You're building the fortitude. Absolutely necessary if you are going to thrive in this game. Number three is related. It's to become the person who responds and doesn't react. This is work, right? What happened in the example of the person I'm talking about? Reaction. Somebody said something, somebody did something, boom, react, right? This is something you want to watch out for. You want to be able to respond. Responding is more strategic. It's more tactful. It's more intentional. It's more thoughtful. Reaction is emotional, usually, right? So become the person that is able to respond. Oftentimes that will require taking a beat. Okay. Number four, and this is where if you do decide that you are going to slow down, because we've already said stopping cold turkey, probably not the thing that you want to do. But if you decided that you want to slow down, do it smart. Do it smart, okay? Select the relationships you're going to nurture. Leave some time on your calendar for a few calls still, okay? Hire the coach and do the work to work through your stories, to work through your intros, to work through how you're going to tell people why you left. All those things need to be worked on. You're not just going to magically have it polished. You need to actually do the work. So if you're going to slow down, yes, but do it in a smart way. Slow down to speed up. Slow down to speed up. Don't just slow down or stop thinking that when you're ready, you'll just start back up. And you know how life works in a very interesting way, because oftentimes when you tell yourself, I'm just going to take this long amount of time, something happens. I see it all the time. Something happens that necessitates getting back out there maybe sooner than you plan. So now you've got this fire underneath you. Now this sense of urgency is there that didn't really need to be there, because all you had to do was keep chipping away at it. Keep doing your drills, running your reps, but you weren't doing that, right? And so now there's a fire. There's a fire. So if you're going to slow down with intention, be smart about it, make sure that you're still nurturing a select number of relationships that are high value relationships, okay, that will yield fruit for you, okay? Because here's the thing is that in the moment, and this is really the message, in the moment, when you are stopping, it feels like a reset and it feels good. Boy, does it feel good. It feels really good, right? Because you're relieving the pressure. When there's pressure, what do you want to do? You want to relieve it. You want that escape valve to relieve the pressure. So it is going to feel good, and it will feel like the right decision. Okay? It will feel like the right decision. And it's only years later. Usually the perspective will come years later. It's only years later that you realize, nope, you really weren't stopping to rest. That was the beginning of you veering off course, veering off track, right? You weren't stopping to rest. That was you veering off track. So here's my message for you. If you have in fact found yourself in that liminal phase, okay, you have paused, you have hit the pause button on your career, you stopped cold turkey, things got a little bit too much and you had to step away. I get that. Okay, don't beat yourself up too much, don't judge yourself too harshly, but know that when you start running again, there will be discomfort, and that's okay. But if you stick with it, if you keep going, you'll climb that hill, and in no time, you will hit your stride again. Okay, so like I said earlier, you can decide to stop. You can do whatever it is that you want to do in your career. My intention here is to arm you with more information, more perspective, so that you are making well thought out decisions that set you up for success in your corporate career. See you soon.